that going back to Wells, it was very clear that I knew something about Carl Reichert and to a lesser extent at that time Paul Hazen from having met him and also from having read a lot of things they said. So they were different. They were certainly different than the typical banker. And then the question was how much did that difference make in terms of how they would run the place. And they ran into some very heavy seas subsequently. And I think probably the difference, I probably think those human differences that were perceived earlier are what enabled them to come through as well as they did. But that's about all I can say on banks.
But we might add to that slightly, because that Wells Fargo thing is a very interesting example. They had a huge concentration of real estate lending, a field in which people took the biggest collapse in 40 or 50 years in that field, so that if they had been destined to suffer the same sort of average loss per real estate loan that an ordinary bank would have suffered, the place would have been broke. So we were basically betting that their real estate lending was way better than average. And indeed, it was. And they also handled it on the way down way better than average. So you can argue that everybody else was looking at this horrible concentration of real estate loans and this sea of troubles in the real estate field and in bankers to the real estate field, and they just assumed that Wells Fargo was going to go broke. And we figured, no, that since their loans were way higher quality and their loan collection methods were way higher quality than others, that it would be all right. And so it worked out.
You probably couldn't have told that. If we hadn't gone a little further, though, than just looking at numbers, we would not have been able to make that decision. Zone 1.